Sometimes I just want to be by myself. Fucking hell. I don't want to be interrupted all the time with these weird thoughts crashing into mine. Hey all and every many, thanks for switching into Housemates for Life, a podcast powered by plurals, for plurals, and everybody else who wants to hear more about the insanely awesome world of plurality. Here we talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, and the beautiful sides of sharing a body and mind. In today's episode, we will talk about copiloting a human body, and we will try to do this together today. Try to actually switch in and out and see how it goes. What we mean by copiloting, basically co-hosting, as it's often termed in the plural community. So we will briefly talk about what a host actually can mean, what it means to us, how we became co-pilots in the first place, and how does that look like in our daily life. We are the voices of just a rather very insane system, aka Jarvis, and I'm your host Matt today, and I'm here with my co-host or co-pilot Will. If you enjoy listening to our podcast Housemates for Life, please tell a friend or more, leave a like, subscribe, rate, comment, and everything else you do to show your support and appreciation. Many thanks. Now without further ado, let's get on with our show. Okay. Will, are you excited for this episode today? I guess. I'm definitely excited because what we're trying to do is actually literally co-hosting this episode. It will end up in total confusion, or it's going to be pretty awesome. Just for the record, so this is Will talking. And I like to do that a lot. Not recording, but keeping records of what we're doing backstage, because we're not like switching back and forth. We will edit this later on, so there are actually literally a lot of gaps between where we need to actually resort our thoughts and actually switch. We just keep saying this because systems might listen and start feel like faking because they can't switch back and forth in 1 second, and neither do we, so don't feel discouraged if you're listening to us, to our show here. Okay, Matt here. So our first topic for today is what is a pilot or host in a plural system. It's kind of if you have come across DID or multiple personality disorder, as it was termed back in the days. You probably also have heard about system roles, like caretaker, protector, whatsoever. And one of these roles is host, being a host, host of the system, which is usually, but not always, the quote-unquote original or the body identity. Like, not all systems are like that, and ours is not like that, but some systems are like that there's one handmaid who's basically the person who identifies most with the body and the legal identity and whatsoever. So that would naturally qualify someone to be a host, but not necessarily. And I see on our list of notes there's a term, and I can feel that Will is really pissed about it. So I will let you talk about this. Let's go. Yeah, there is 3 letters, A and P, and this comes from this comes from the clinical community. A&P stands for apparently normal part, which I don't know about you, but it enrages me so much on multiple levels. First of all, part. It's not just us, but many systems feel very offended by being called parts. Like, I'm not a part. I think we made that clear in previous episodes, but yeah, don't call us part unless we ask you to. And then apparently normal part. Whoa, what does that mean? It pisses me off really bad, I swear. And this is a quite typical thing right now. Like, I'm pissed off, but I'm also laughing because Matt is right next to me and he enjoys seeing me pissed off. I don't know, it makes him laugh, and so I'm laughing. And yeah, this episode is going to be such a mess. Okay, when you throw around words like apparently normal part, and please define normal, I mean, please don't do that, because I don't know, I guess we all agree that that's a waste of time, but I guess what the clinical community means by that is you have a part, or, I mean, this also works for singulars, but talking about systems, you might have a headmate who is running the everyday life, and everything seems okay in the frame of normality. They function in everyday tasks, they just live a life and might never really know what's going on in the background. And then there's this other term called emotional part, which is, I don't know, see inner child or something like that. But yeah, we don't this is just a side note, we really don't want to use these terms at all to talk about plurality in systems. But this is kind of what you could compare the role of a host to. It's like the headmates who run daily life, basically, who are fronting most of the time during the day and do like go to work, do everyday tasks to just make the system get on in life, basically. Hi, this is Matt again. So it could be either that the host is the person who inhabits the body first or relates to the body the most, but it doesn't have to be. So it could just also be whoever is fronting the most or is dominating the front in a way. And yeah, there can be multiple hosts. There can be the host can change over time, so that's usually called a host switch. Or there's like no host at all. Like, we know a lot of systems who just don't really have that role in the system, and that's totally fine. Like, no system needs roles. It's just like for guidelines, orientation terms, so that we can actually talk about weird experiences in our head. Whoopsie. And we personally don't really like the term host. Actually, it's almost as bad as ANP, because it kind of implies there is this main person, quote unquote, which we don't have. Like, all of us have qualities or characteristics that would qualify us to be a host. So, or the original person, whatsoever. So, for example, me, Matt, I feel strongly connected to family stuff. So I feel like, yeah, I'm totally part of our family. Whereas Will, and I think he can answer that for himself. So Will, what qualifies you to be a host? Yeah, so, oh jeez, this is so weird to come in right after Matt has been talking. Totally, he's so excited about this episode, and I have to come in and be like, shh, calm down. So what qualifies me to be a host is that I'm dominating the front a lot, and I'm not doing that on purpose. It just happens. I'm basically every day, every single fucking day, I'm at least co-conscious with someone else close to the front. So I see, hear everything. I mean, we share memory anyway, but it always feels like I'm around. I'm affected by everything that happens to us, whether I'm fronting or not. I'm always experiencing every time in this life, for the most part. So I'm dominating the front, which kind of feels like I'm the, I don't know, main person or whatsoever, but I know when I actually switch out, like if I'm actually gone from the front, then the others, like Matt feels a lot like this is his life, his body, he's the main driver in this life or something like that. So we all feel like that in a way. Yeah, and then there's our headmate Yori, who also qualifies a lot for being the host or main person or original whatever, because for a long time she related most to this body. Not quite, not 100%. There was always this feeling something is off. But we had her hairstyle for a long time. We have a lot of our clothes from her style, her tastes, her strong influence on things. We have a room filled with frogs, frog figurines and plushies, because she loves frogs a lot. So yeah, she had a great influence on our collective life. And sometimes it feels like she is like, I don't know, like the pure spirit of our soul or something like that. And we're just like pawns in the grand scheme of things. I don't know. That's how I feel about it, at least sometimes. But yeah, the term host just doesn't really, it doesn't sound good. It just sounds like too much associated with the body. Like, I don't know, being the host means you own the body and the others are guests or something like that, which, I don't know, it's not like how we feel about our system. So we rather use the term pilots, or in our case co-pilots, because we are two pilots at the moment, usually sitting in the front row of our bus and piloting this life. And being co-pilots, it has like this it's like kind of this special relationship status that we have. So Will and I, we are colleagues, we work together, we are friends, we are basically brothers because we grew up together. We are partners, we are like life companions, because we make life everyday decisions together, and on bigger life choices we consult our other headmates as well. And yeah, we literally co-pilot this bus or this body, and sometimes it's weird because we are moving our body together. It's weird. And I think we talked about this before. Blurriness, identity confusion, all of these things. Check out the earlier episodes if you haven't already. So next we will talk about how did we actually become co-pilots, because we have not always been co-piloting this body and life like we do right now. It is a total mess, but it has been much more of a mess in the past. So how did we come to this point right now? And I think it's best if Will starts with this. Let's go. So we talked about the early experiences right after discovery in an episode before. And during that time, I personally I felt like I was front stuck a lot. So front stuck meaning I couldn't switch out. Like I said before, I'm dominating the front a lot. But nowadays I can actually sometimes switch out. So that Matt can take over wholly the front and stuff. But back then, like, it sounds like ages ago. It was 2 years ago, 1 year ago, 1 year ago, 1.5, I don't know. So I felt like I was stuck at the front, and for the life of me, I just couldn't leave. Felt like I needed to hold on. Not that I wanted to, but I felt like I needed to, be aware and be in control and all that stuff. And it felt a lot like my headmates are quote unquote just my support. So if somebody had asked me back then, are you the main person of the system? I would be like, yeah, probably. Because it felt like my headmates are like supportive, but this is actually my own life or something. My own life that they have been messing with for a long time, actually. But yeah, I at some point, couple of months after discovering our system, at some point I remember this moment so well. I was like sitting there and I'm like, I guess this is it now. This is my life from now on, and I have these people in my head, and but I have to make decisions from now on. I have to choose a direction and a path from now on. And 2 days later or so, we had like this breakdown. Or I had this breakdown. I was burning out like so often. But this was like, I was at my limit. And maybe this is a good time for Matt to talk about this. So I'm the support, right? I'm the supportive person here in our system. And it's not my role or anything, but I just like that. And after Discovery, I've been around a lot. I've been supportive, encouraging, whatever. And I learned in my life, when you want to support your friends, you just let them be, mostly. Like, give them a little bit of push, but just let them figure themselves out. At least for people like Will, that works best, I think. And so I did. I let him be. I let him be down, having breakdowns, burnout, whatsoever. I was always there to, or I am always there to be nice and kind. But I also don't, I'm not, what do I want to say? Right, positivity, toxic positivity. That's a no-go. No, I used to be that guy, but I learned my lessons, and so I will not tell people everything is gonna be fine when they feel like shit. But in that moment, when Will had his one of many breakdowns once again, I was like, okay, buddy, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm a very patient person, but I got my limits too. And so I gave him this slap, mental slap in headspace, and be like, okay, if you are not switching out now and let me handle life for a bit, I'm gonna be mad. Not mad, but I'm going to be mad. And it worked. Like, after so many months of Will being stuck at front and not giving away control. He didn't do that on purpose, but it was just like how it was for us. He actually switched out, and I switched in. For the first time after so long, like after Discovery, I was out at front alone, like completely alone. All the distress, all the feelings of stress and depression and burnout, everything was suddenly gone. And I'm like, whoa, this is amazing. I feel amazing. And that was like a point where I kind of remembered that, oh yeah, right, there was a time before we discovered our system where I used to front a lot alone and live this life, and a great part of this life belongs to me, actually. And I remember that, and I'm like, hey, maybe I'm not just that silly, goofy voice on the sideline. Maybe I own this life at least as much as Will does. And in that moment, I just wanted to be a good headmate, so I just ticked off lots of to-dos on our list and just waited patiently until Will would come back home to the front. I think it took 2 days at least. 2 days I was just by myself, minding my own business, or our business. Hi, this is Will from the future. I just wanted to add here something. So this whole event where Matt basically gently and kindly kicked me from the front, I would say trust is a big factor here. So I think it's very often emphasized in the plural community, but it is real. It's like you really need to learn to trust your headmates, which I still struggle with a bit because I just generally find it difficult to rely on other people. But the thing is, when you're fronting, when you are filling up the consciousness of your mind, whatever, and you need to switch out, if it's like you basically need to go asleep. You basically need to stop existing for a while at least. And I mean, I wasn't afraid that I would never come back, but in some systems that's actually the case. It can happen. Dormancy is a common thing in many systems, also in ours. I mean, I wasn't afraid that I would never come back, but still, you need to stop. Willingly, consciously stop existing in order to switch out. And I think that's also maybe why it's so difficult for many systems to switch at will, because even now for us, like, we can do that when we plan this for this podcast episode. It's we agree on that and it's fun and blah. But when it comes to like tough life things, and I'm a control freak, right? I am I'm not denying that. So if shit hits the fan, I want to take control. I want to take care of that. I'm also a problem solver. I want to fix things, right? So the last thing on my mind is stop existing and let other people do things for me. That's like, wow. It's like, I know I gotta work on that, but it's really hard for me personally. And so yeah, in that moment, it was really like Matt was talking to me so intensely and so demanding, which is very unusual for him, but it was so demanding that I switch out and let him take over for a while, that I'm like, okay, I guess I got no choice but to trust him right now. I mean, I did trust him back then, I do trust him still, but it was really like, okay, I'm not moving forward, backward, sideways, so what do I got to lose, right? So I would just fall asleep and let you take over. And yeah, and then while I was gone for a bit, and Matt was at the front, he proved himself to be very trustworthy. Like, before that event, we weren't really aware so much. It's still hard sometimes to figure out who did what in the past in our life and how much time we actually spent on different things and what are actually our skills and expertise. We get better at that, but at that time it was still all so nebulous to us. And yeah, just basically, I wasn't really observing him, but I could like see it in our collective memory that he was actually really capable of handling stuff. Like, we all have the same access to our skills and knowledge and whatsoever. So he has that access. He accesses it with different motivations, but he still has the same access to all these things. And if I'm capable of doing things, then he's definitely capable of doing things, because he has a very different mindset than I do. And yeah, in most cases, I hate to admit this, but he's so much more capable than I am. And yeah, so I don't know if your system, if you're struggling with these things, switching at will and letting other handmaids front. First of all, learn to trust each other. And when you are at front, if somebody lets you front, show them that you're trustworthy. It definitely helped us. It helped me. It was very eye-opening, and things got a lot easier, not easy, but easier since then. That's all I had to say from the future. Bye. And yeah, that was a very significant moment for us on our journey during the early days and months. Because since then we figured it is easier or healthier if we switch every now and then. Like, it feels like we needed that breakdown to actually realize that we can do that. And maybe, I think this is a part that Will would like to talk about. Well, would like to talk about. I mean, this is just, I guess you just said that because it's about organizing time management. I like that. It's not always. Sometimes it just feels like a compulsion, but yeah. So I still want regular fronting times, you know? I want to make my time schedule. Like, I want to be able to say, okay, this week I'm gonna front, and I'm going to do my things, my hobbies. I make appointments with the people that I like, not people that Matt likes, and life is good. But that's not what we get. So yeah, we try to establish regular fronting times and be like, okay, you switch in this week, I switch in that week. Or we figured a whole week is too long, we just kind of front burnout after 2 days or so. So after 1 or 2 days, we have to switch out, or at least become blurry or co-conscious. So we were like, okay, let's try this. Let's do 2 days you, 2 days me, or something like that. Well, yeah, it doesn't work like that. I mean, it was still this trial and error phase. So by now we are more like, yeah, let's just go with the flow. It's messy. It's not ideal, but it works. So yeah, and yeah, most of the time we're actually co-conscious. There are like rarely times by now where either one of us fronts alone, which sucks to me personally, but it's also not as bad as I thought it would be in the very beginning. I remember in the very beginning I was very, very, very particular about my me time out in front. But yeah, it's okay to have some company, and it's okay to have precious moments of being just by myself, not feeling influenced, just having quietness in this head. And yeah, I remember since Discovery, there's only one single day or evening I remember where I was falling asleep all by myself, lying down in bed all by myself, and just diving into dreamland by myself. Imagine that. And speaking about falling asleep, this is Matt, by the way, again. So next topic we want to talk about is our daily life as co-pilots. And our day, I don't know about you guys, but our day usually starts with waking up in the morning. And usually we're very foggy, and in rare cases it's actually clear who is waking up in the morning. It's either we are well rested, like we could sleep in and didn't have an alarm waking us up, or the opposite, we wake up in the middle of the night because we have to go somewhere to the airport or something like that. And then usually it's me, Matt, who's waking up in the middle of the night because, yeah, I don't know. When body energy is low, then I'm usually out. I'm the only one in the system who can handle this well. So yeah, I just do that. And I fucking love waking up as myself in the morning, not just as some random voice on the side. It just feels good. It feels good to get out of bed. Will says something. Yeah, Matt is a weirdo. Like, I don't know. It's also like if I wake up in the morning and I just want to continue lying around, sleeping, slumbering, snoozing, and then he's like, "Okay, time to start the day." Oh, he just overtook for a moment, I guess. Where were we? Oh right, yeah. So this is Will now. Waking up, and then we usually have a brief chat or a brief kind of journaling. We only started that recently, but we figured this helps us to ground us in the morning, to like figure out who's actually at front and who's actually going to do what during this day. So we talk a bit about our state of mind, our mood, our plans for the day, what we look forward to, what we don't look forward to, then kind of make a few notes. We call that focus. So we make these notes where if there are like particular things happening during the day, we write down what we want to focus on when these things happen. Because oftentimes it's when we feel blurry or blendy and our opinions mush together and we are not sure anymore about what's actually going on in our head. It's hard to stay focused and it's hard to not feel like a pushover. So we write down in the morning, we write down things that are important to us and what we want to be firm about and focus on. So it's easier when we come into these situations, it's easier to just stick to the plan, no matter how confused we are. So it's still a work in progress, and but so far it feels like it works quite okay. And yeah, the next part on our morning routine, I think that's something Matt would like to talk about. Working out, yeah, that's something that I like to do in the mornings. Working out, get this body moving. It's not just me; it's also our handmade Jen who loves that. Workout was the thing we started to integrate her more into our life because there's like a positive trigger for her, and then she has an easier time to come out and become more familiar with being at the front, and us becoming more familiar with being co-conscious with her and all that. And this is also an interesting thing because we all of us have very different attitudes towards working out. So I like it. I like to do more repetitions than we should or that are planned for. And Will is usually like, "Oh no, I don't want this. Can I skip this exercise? Can I do 2 repetitions less, please?" And then I'm like, either I'm gentle, I'm lenient, or I'm just like, "You just do it now." Or I just take over and just do it myself, which sometimes works, sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, and then there is work. So this is Will again. So we gotta go to work, right? We gotta earn our living somehow. And we commute to work. We take the train, and then we kind of use that to ground ourselves in a way. We usually, Matt and I, are co-conscious while on the train, or in general when we walk anywhere. When it's like a good time to dissociate and be productive at the same time. Like productive in the sense we get from A to B while dissociating. And by dissociating in that sense, I mean like mind wanders off, or we have an easier time to just be in our head and like communicate with each other. So that's usually what we do, or like listening to music or an audiobook. But like that's always a good chance for us to just chat with each other, and that feels grounding because I think we mentioned that before. Communicating with each other is a good way to focus on each other's identity and feel more separated from each other and not blended together, which we usually do feel while we are at work, which is okay. I mean, if we are actually working, that was Matt, right? He was just talking over me here. So when we are focused on something that is outside of our head, so we focus on a task or anything that requires our focus, then usually we are not. We just do the thing, and somehow it doesn't really matter who's doing it. It's just happening. So at work, we rarely ever get the feeling that any one of us is there really present. Which, I mean, so long we don't have to make friends at work, it's okay. But if we were to socialize with colleagues, that would just drain my energy, really. Because we would just be, blurry fuck and not really care about anything, or at least I wouldn't care, and yeah. Okay, Matt just said something. Let's keep this episode chill and not depressive, okay? I mean, nothing against being depressed or depressive feelings, but yeah. I want this one episode to be on the lighthearted side. And speaking of which, food is such a nice thing, and I'm like called the cooking muse in our system, like so many other things. I have so many roles in the system. It's amazing. And one of them is being the cooking muse, or like, I don't know, in English you would say sweet tooth, but doesn't really fit because, I mean, sometimes, I crave for sweet things, but usually I crave for like hearty meals, good food, and ice cream. And I generally have, if I can be so humble, I always have really good ideas about what to cook, what to eat. And then like before groceries, it's like Will is usually doing the groceries, but then he's like consulting me, asking what should we eat on the weekend, and I'm like, oh, we didn't have this and this in a long time, let's have that and that. And he's like, okay, and then just notes down the ingredients that we need to buy to make it happen. Speaking of groceries, so this is one of my precious hobbies, so to speak. I love going to the grocery store, I swear. This is the one activity where I'm usually all by myself. I just go there, I walk to the grocery store and just be by myself with my own thoughts. I go in there and it feels like being around people without actually having to socialize with them. Like, I can watch people. And usually I go early in the morning, so it's not too crowded. And it's just chill. It's just calming activity. I have my list with me. I know exactly what to do, where to go, what ingredients to pick. It's like, it's heaven to me. And Will says I'm the weirder in the system, right? Yeah, I guess we're all kind of weird in our own ways. Yeah, true. Right, next topic. Speaking of hobbies, this is still a work in progress thing, definitely. So we try to, since the beginning of the year, we tried a few things to manage hobbies and our different hobbies, and time management is such a big thing for plurals, and I guess this deserves a whole episode. We need episodes for this topic, but we probably will make one episode about this in particular, but just briefly, we all got hobbies. We all got multiple hobbies. Like, it's not like one of us has one hobby and the other has the other hobby. It's like we are all full people with multiple interests and things we would like to do in life, but we don't get to because we don't have the time for it. So we try to focus on things that are either very particularly important to us or where we have overlaps. So we do a lot of creative projects, like also this podcast, for example, where Matt can talk into microphone and I can just sit at the computer and edit stuff and chill. Matt and I, we like to go to the cinema together. We both have relatively overlapping tastes, not in every single aspect, but mostly. And cinema is such a great activity for us because we can just go there and we can sit in the cinema. We can actually talk about the film while watching it with each other in our head, not disturbing anybody, which is great. Right, Matt reminds me of something. So one day I had the idea, oh, I want to go to the cinema, let's go. And then, but Will was fronting and he would like take out the phone and looking up screening times and then reserving tickets. He was like picking 2 seats on the screen and like almost buying 2 tickets for us. And then in the last second, he's like, oh, wait, we only need 1. So yeah, we only pay 1 ticket, but we get multiple fun. Isn't that great? I mean, there are a few perks about being plural, I swear. But yeah, coming back to the time management thing, this year we started to try to kind of focus on specific hobbies during specific seasons. Like, you know, during winter, it's easier to do things that you can do inside, and during summer, maybe we go more on hiking or something like that. But yeah, it started out well. I would say it is a good guideline to like make sure everybody gets a chance on their interests. But at the same time, if we suddenly feel inspired to do something else, it's so hard to stick to the original plan. So yeah, right now we're more, okay, let's just try to go with the flow. We try to keep track of all our multiple projects and ideas and hobbies and whatnot. But yeah, it's all a work in progress, and maybe next year we make an episode about all of this, and maybe we are wiser then. And yeah, how do we end our days as a system or co-pilots? Well, usually in the evening. Evening is usually a time to chillax together. So we have we're by ourselves. We have nobody's around, so it's a good time to ground ourselves, to meet up in headspace. That's or like in the world, like when we are rested, when we are calm, lying down, listening to music, something like that. We have easier access to inner world stuff and communication, so that's a good time to just hang out, be like something up, something on your mind, something you want to say to the system, stuff like that. Or just chill and try to fall asleep. Listening to music together. I love listening to music, and I like to pretend that we are a air band, so we all have our imaginary air instruments and then like play along with the music. Usually it's just me, but I try to encourage my headmates to follow along and just have some fun, And for the last part of this episode, we would like to just talk about how we feel about having a copilot or being copilots. And I just realized that we didn't take any notes on this so far. So this will just be some freestyle, I guess. And okay, so Will, you start. Go ahead. Tell the audience what an awesome, amazing co-pilot I am. You are. I mean, genuinely. Matt is a weirdo, but also a nice headmate. Good to have around. How do I feel about having a co-pilot? Well, it's like how I feel about being plural. It's a bliss and a curse. Like, as I said in the beginning, sometimes I just want to be by myself. Fucking hell. I don't want to be interrupted all the time with these weird thoughts crashing into mine. And it's like imagine you are on a train, your train of thoughts, right? And then suddenly there's this other train crashing right into you, derailing your train of thought, and like just thinking about something completely unrelated and dirty or silly or something like that. And I'm like, oh, shut up, please. No, but Matt is cool. Like, as much as I hate it, I also love it. Like, sometimes having it's like non-stop 24/7 comedy show in my head, and sometimes these random silly things popping up, and sometimes I have to laugh about it. Usually I shake my head, but sometimes I generally find it funny. Generally is like I don't mind having Matt around. I just mind being in that situation in the first place, being part of a system, it's not just that I have headmates, I also am a headmate, and I just don't like it so much. I don't know what my life would be if I wasn't in this position, and I don't want to. Like, I don't want my headmates to be gone, but also, I guess you can tell from all the other episodes we recorded so far, I just don't like being plural that much, or too much, but it's also all I got. And for that, I think I'm lucky in a way with my headmates. Like, I get along well with Matt. I guess this is why we co-front a lot, because we easily vibe together. It's not like I don't like my other mates, but we can hang out easier. We have more overlaps in hobbies, interests, tastes. Well, actually, now that I think about it, sometimes we have so contradicting tastes. It's unbelievable. We have this shirt Matt bought it, and I would have never in my life have thought to have an orange shirt color. Orange, I hate this color so much, but yeah, it is there, and we wear it sometimes, and sometimes I find myself sitting looking down and be like, am I really wearing this shirt right now? But yeah, as I said, it could be worse. It could be so much worse, I guess, which sounds awful to say. I like having Matt around. I genuinely like it. Thank you, and I'm totally giving that right back to you. I like having Will in my life. You would think, right? Like, my life would be so much better, happier, whatever, if I didn't have this cynical, pessimistic person right next to me. But generally, I like it. I like my position. I like this situation. I like being a headmate. I like being a co-pilot. I mean, if it was just me, my decision, I would be fine being just that silly side voice on the sideline, which I often am, but I don't necessarily need to front that much by myself. I'm happy to just be co-conscious, though I like being at front sometimes, being just me and doing my thing. But I also could go without. I mean, anytime we watch some series or film or whatever, and there's this goofy comic relief character, I'm like, that's me. That's totally me. Like, I don't need to be a protagonist. I don't need to have a big part in this life. I just need to be silly. That's my jam. So yeah, how do I feel about it? I feel great. Like, I don't know what I should add to this. I love it. It's fun. It's of course not always easy, but I don't know. I find it exciting. Is that weird? I guess it's weird, but I find it exciting. It spices up my personal life. I mean, it sucks that it's at the expense of my housemate. Like, I don't want Will to feel bad about this plural stuff. I don't want him to suffer. But at the same time, I just think it's just like, yeah, living with your best friend in the same house and just, yeah, have a good time together and trying to cheer each other up. And it's kind of more exciting that we get to experience this kind of, yeah, miracle. Can you say that miracle? Is it a miracle that we are plural? I don't know. You get what I mean, right? I don't know. I find it magical. It's magical. Yes, that's what I wanted to say. This is magical. I can like communicate via telepathy, basically, with my best friend, and I think that's cool. It's just cool. It's fun. And I think generally we're a cool system. I like being in this particular system. Oh, Will wants to add something now. I think we realize now why we usually have a script. So we left this last part open-ended, so it comes across more natural, but at the same time it feels like so pointless and it's going to nowhere, and we don't really know how to end this right now, because I guess everything has been said that needs to be said, right? What would you say? Yeah, I don't have anything to add anymore. It's cool. I love being co-pilot with you, and I love that we did this episode today, and this went so much better than we thought it would be. We thought it's going to be an absolute chaotic mess, like our ad feels usually, but I think this went really well. And you guessed it right, this is the end of this episode. So today we talked about co-piloting, or otherwise termed co-hosting, and what it means to us personally in our system and how it feels for us. Try to give you some kind of glimpse into our daily life as co-pilots of this system. We hope you had fun. I had a lot of fun, and I guess Will had fun too, right? Yeah, it was fun. And currently I'm not sure if that's actually my pure opinion or if I'm just hijacked by mass excitement. But yeah, let's just say it was fun for me too. Awesome. Now, to you all outside the audience, do you have a host or co-host, or do you have other terms that you use for that particular function? And what does it feel like for you all? Let us know in the comments. This episode was brought to you by the Voices of Jarvis with me, Matt, and my co-pilot, Will. Thank you all beautiful souls for listening and your support. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a like, tell a friend, subscribe, all these cool things, because it will help others to find this episode as well. Many thanks. As I always like to say, let your personality shine brighter than your eyes and your confidence shout louder than your voice. Until next time with Housemates for Life. And in the end, some outtakes. Not that many, actually. We expected more for this episode. Too bad. Thank you all for listening. No, wait. We wanted to talk about something else. If you enjoyed this episode, please, what? What's wrong with me right now?